All right. So today we are going to focus on working out one of your recipes in the semester project. We're going to use the rub recipe. Okay. Um, and in doing this, the purpose for working this out together is I'm going to demonstrate kind of the step-by-step process that you can follow and apply to other recipes. Okay. I will post this recording on Canvas so that way you can refer back to it. Um, but when I sit down at my computer to work on the project, okay, what I would recommend is I put these four links right together because what I would recommend is if you right click on this, okay, if you're on a laptop, usually it's like a double finger tap. It will pop up this little side menu, and I would open the link in a new tab. Okay. And then I do the Chef Tech inventory, open in a new tab, semester project notes, open in a new tab, and that volume to weight conversion. So that way we have these four tabs right here where we have all the information easily accessible. Okay. So that's what I would recommend as you get ready to sit down and prepare to start working on a project. Okay. The other thing is you are going to need one of these RSTO worksheets for every single recipe. Okay. Those of you who are in class, I've provided you a copy. Um, Keep in mind that your project is being turned in digitally. Okay, so you don't have to print anything out. I know some students like to write it down on the form and then convert it and go back and type it. Some students like to type it from the very beginning and then just utilize regular notebook paper to do their math calculations. Whatever you feel like is up to you. Okay. Remember, this page here has our flow chart on the back, which is what we're going to use today. Okay. But the front side has that QR code. That's going to lead you right to that Chef Tech inventory list. That's going to lead you right to your volume to weight conversions. So if you're on the computer and you'd rather use the volume to weight conversions on your phone, you can just scan the QR code to take you to that website. Okay. On the front side of this page, well, hold on, let me back up for a second. So our menu set. Pretty much everything that's highlighted is going to have its own menu, its own recipe. Okay. The other thing to do is to look at your quizzes. If you look at the assignments tab in Canvas and come down here to your project, all of these menu set twos, those are the recipes that are the quizzes that are part of your project. Okay. So if this is the name of the quiz, that's gonna be the name of the recipe that's in Canvas on the menu set two. Okay. So we look at our menu right here. I know it's really hard, really small and really hard to see. Okay. Um, so I'm going to also put it right here. What I like to do is I like to do a little bit of like a split screen so that I can see both windows side by side. Okay. The only thing that I really need on this is obviously going to be your name. Okay. The menu item, so that's the name of the recipe, the rub, and the number of portions, which is 32 servings. Okay. All of our recipes, because this is a menu set, all of our recipes are set to 32 servings. That'll stay consistent. Okay. Then we want to copy our recipe as is in order so we don't make any mistakes. So we do chili powder and we need 8 tablespoons. Okay. We have salt and we need 2 teaspoons. We have garlic powder We need 2 teaspoons. And we need chicken breast. We need 32 each. Okay. So I'm setting up my front page, my cover page. Okay. So your front cover page should now look just like this, except it should have your name on it, not where it says name. Yeah. 8 tablespoons. Now that I'm done with this, let me go ahead and blow it up a little bit so you can see a little bit clearer. Okay. Your projects will be turned in digitally, which means I expect everything to be typed. It's just a lot more professional. My handwriting is awful. If I have to like write a thank you card, I have to like slow down and think about what I'm going to write. Otherwise, my handwriting will be ineligible and illegible.
You got it.
Yeah. All right. Anybody need a couple more minutes with this? Chili powder, salt, garlic powder, and chicken breasts are our ingredients. 8 tablespoons, 2 teaspoons, 2 teaspoons, and 32 each. Okay. Now, if you want to retype it, you absolutely can. However, if you just copy, Control C is the keyboard shortcut for copy. Hold down Control and hit C. And then come down here and come to ingredient. And we hit Control V as in Victor. Control V as in Victor. That will copy and paste it down there. Okay. So if you want to retype it, you can. I like to work on shortcuts. And so we're going to copy. And this goes in the amount needed. Okay. Questions, comments, concerns so far? The next thing we want to do is go ahead and get our as purchased. Okay. So I recommend that you check the semester project notes first. Okay. In checking the semester project notes, excuse me, thank you. In checking the semester project notes, you're going to see that some of the AP is already given to you. Okay, so like for example, our chicken breasts are $1.29 each. If we go to the Chef Tech inventory list, there's multiple chicken breasts. And so I have given you the one that I used, so that way the math will come out correctly. Okay. So we do $1.29. And then the purchase amount is each. Okay. And then we look at salt is 2 cents per ounce. So we do $0.02. Right? That's the 2 cents. And it's per ounce. We're kind of splitting that as purchased cost and the purchase amount into 2 different columns. Okay. So 2 cents for salt per ounce and $1.29 for each chicken breast. Now we can go to the copy of the Chef Tech inventory list. Okay. If you have items, when we use that Control F feature, the find feature, if you have items that have more than 2 words or more than 1 word, just pick one of those words, right? Because if you do something that's like not exactly the way it appears on the worksheet, then it's not going to come up as a searchable item. So it's always best just to use 1 word. And so if we're looking for garlic powder and chili powder, which word might we choose to use? What would be a better one? Powder. Why? It's in both of them, right? So we're just going to do 1 search for the word powder. You could do chili, right? If we did chili, And if I do chili, it gives me chili sauce and it gives me Rotel tomatoes with green chili. Is that what I'm looking for?
No.
No. And so just because it's not there doesn't mean that it's not on the list. It might be because this is how the recipe spells it, right? But if we try a different spelling, here we've got chili powder, right? So that's why if we use that other word that's a little bit more common, like powder, we've got chili powder, which is $9. Where are we at? Chili powder. $9.43 for 18 ounces. So on our one right here, we do $9.43, and it's for 18 ounces. And then if we look just a little bit further down, we have got garlic powder, and that is $4.93 per 1 pound. LB is pound. So $4.93 per pound. Okay. Have we done any math yet?
No.
No. Right? So this project is not only math. We got to do some work to get things ready for us to get ready to do math. Okay. Think about this as like your mise en place. You get your mise en place, all your ingredients together so that you can make your recipe efficiently. And we got to get all this information together so that we can work out our math problems efficiently. Okay. So in looking at these 4 ingredients, there's one that would be ideal to start with. Which one do you think it is? Show me with your fingers. Is it number 1, number 2, number 3, or number 4? Which one would it be ideal to start with? Y'all online, you can also type your answer in the chat. 1, 2, 3, or 4. Let me see. Okay, I see a lot of fours. Good. Fours, good. Okay, awesome. Real quick, those of you who are in chat, if you'll do me a favor or online, go ahead and just type your name in the chat. I haven't done attendance yet, and um, that will save your attendance. So when I go back, so just type your name, and I will do attendance after class is over. Thank you. All right. So why we do number 4 first?
Because they're the same.
Our units are already the same.
Yeah.
Right? So let's focus on that, okay? Until we get really comfortable with this. And now let's work on here we go. Everyone refer back to our flow chart here, okay? I would recommend that you just have this out ready for you so that way you can go through the process and see how we work this out. Remember, this video will be recorded. All right. So AP to recipe. That's how I start all of my items. We're going to do chicken breast. Okay. What is my as purchased cost for my chicken breast? $1.29 each. And what's my recipe amount? 32 each. Okay. So at 32 each, so we come right here to number 1. We're going to compare our as purchased and recipe units. Are they the same? That's our question. Are they the same?
Yes.
Yes. So we follow the yes arrow. We have to reduce the AP cost to the cost of 1 unit. Bonus, it's already in the cost of 1 unit. Okay. And so what we'll do is we'll come right over here on your recipe page, and essentially we are going to be combining these two into one field, right? Because it's already in the cost of 1 unit. And so we're going to go ahead and say it's $1.29 per each. Okay. So we're going to combine those two columns into one column. Now let's go back to our flow chart. After we reduce the cost to 1 unit, we multiply the recipe unit cost, which is this $1.29, by the amount needed. This is why this has to be in the cost of 1 unit, because we want to multiply the recipe unit cost by the amount needed to give us our ingredient cost. So what is 129 times 32 equal?
41.28.
Okay, $41.28. Let me show you the calculator. 1.29 times 32. Do I do any rounding to this number?
No,
Why?
it's in the correct cent margin.
It's already in dollars and cents. There's only 2 decimal places. So if there's exactly 2 decimal places, we leave it alone. Okay. Only if we get to a third decimal do we round that second one up by 1 penny. Okay. So what next one do we want to work on? We just want to go from the top to the bottom?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it. Chili powder. So when we do our chili powder, it's $9.43 for 18 ounces. So AP to recipe, $9.43 per 18 ounces. And we need 8 tablespoons. Okay. So as you're going through your notes or as you're going through your pages, I would recommend writing the name of the ingredient kind of right there above the AP. And then that way, as you go down your paper, you can keep your work separated. You can draw a line between the ingredients. That way it helps you kind of distinguish the spaces. Sometimes when you see me working a little bit later in class, you'll see me just change colors of ink. So that way it distinguishes between the work, okay? It helps me visually see that a little bit better. All right, so are my units the same? Ounces and tablespoons, they're the same? No. So we need to determine is the starting measurement in volume or weight, okay? Is 18 ounces in volume or weight? It is weight. And then what about tablespoons? Volume. Good. Okay. And so with that being said, we look right here, weight to volume, we have to use that conversion table. Okay. Use that conversion website table. So let's take a look at that. I need 8 US tablespoons of chili powder. Remember, we want to use that decimal, that precision of 2. So if you haven't already changed that, please do that. And then we have chili powder is the only one. So in doing that, do I use the 2.26 ounces or the 0.14 pound? Why? If we look at our as purchase, we're already in ounces, right? So let's go ahead and make this 8 tablespoons into 2.26 ounces. 2.26 ounces. All right, so the way I would like you to demonstrate this is on your page. Please do not delete the 8 tablespoons, right? Because when somebody's making this recipe, Do you think they want to measure out 8 tablespoons or do you think they want to measure out 2.26 ounces?
8 tablespoons.
8 tablespoons, right? So the tablespoon measurement is helping us when we prepare the recipe. The 2.26 ounces equivalent, right? We have that equal sign. That's going to help us when costing out the recipe. Okay. So we just keep it all there together. So now let's go back to our flow chart. So now our units are the same. Ounces and ounces. Okay. So now our units are the same. We go up and we have to convert or reduce the AP to the cost of 1 unit. So we do $9.43 divided by 18 ounces. And that will give me my cost per ounce. So in doing that, $9.43 divided by 18 is 0.523. So that becomes 0.533, 53 cents per ounce, right? Because we want to round that up. So 0.5238. We're going to look at this third number and round this up to the nearest penny. So it's actually 53 cents per ounce. And that's what we're going to put here in the recipe unit cost. 0.53 cents per ounce. So when we had the same, it was already in the cost of 1 unit, we just combined these two. But now we have to get this down to the cost of 1 unit instead of 18 ounces. Okay. And now, because we have ounces and ounces, now we can multiply straight across. So 53 cents times 2.26. 1.19. Exactly. We're going to round that 8 up to a 9 because we're talking about dollars and cents. So $1.19. Okay. $1.19. Questions about how we got to the $1.19? All right. Let's do salt. Salt is 2 cents per ounce, and we need 2 teaspoons. So let's get set up our AP to recipe. AP to recipe, we need 2 teaspoons, and it is 2 cents per ounce. Okay. Are our units the same? No, we're going to follow the no arrow. We have to convert this volume into weight. And so we're going to use that conversion website. Using the conversion website, we need 2 US teaspoons of salt. Okay, now for the salt, if it just says salt, which one are we going to use? Yeah, table salt or iodized salt, right? Just regular salt. Okay. The only time we're going to use something different is when it actually asks for something specific. I don't know why the salt does this. So this is new because it hasn't done this before, but the ingredients are in alphabetical order, right? So you're going to be scrolling down until you get to the S's. And we have salt, table iodized. I go with the salt HEB iodized just because I recognize HEB as a brand. Okay, but that's not going to have that much difference in the weight from one to the other. So if we look here, we have 0.42 ounces and we have 0.03 pounds. Which one should we use?
Ounces.
Why? Exactly. Our AP is already in ounces. And so we want to do the least amount of conversions as possible. Okay. So 0.42 ounce, this teaspoon, remember that equal sign with the arrow is how I designate the equivalent of something. So that's what you'll see in my notes, 0.42 ounces. So we come back here. We know that the 2 teaspoons of salt is equal to 0.42 ounces. The recipe unit cost is O2, so 2 cents per ounce. Right? We're just combining these two columns. And now we can multiply 2 cents times 0.42, 0.008. So what does that equal?
1 cent.
1 penny, one whole penny. One whole penny. Okay. The way you might look at this, the way you might demonstrate this on your paper. Okay. I'm gonna use a different color so I can. So we have 2 cents per ounce times 0.42 ounces is equal to 0.0084, and that's going to round up to 1 penny. And that would be my final answer. Okay. The last one, the last ingredient is our garlic powder. So for our garlic powder, we have AP to recipe. So for garlic powder, we have $4.93 per pound, and we need 2 teaspoons of garlic powder. Right? So now let's go back to our flow chart. Now, eventually, you may not need the flow chart because you've done it enough. But as you're getting started, I encourage you to use this flow chart as you go through every ingredient to make sure you're not skipping a step. So are our units the same? No, pound and teaspoon. So we're going to follow the flow chart, and then we have to determine volume or weight. We know teaspoon is a volume, so we're going to have to use that conversion website, okay? Now, teaspoon is only a volume. Well, teaspoon's always a volume, but we only have to use this conversion website when what? When the teaspoon or tablespoon is measuring what? The dry ingredients, yes. If it's a liquid like oil or vanilla or water, that 1 tablespoon is equal to half of a fluid ounce. Okay, so we can use that. But in this case, because we buy the dry ingredients by the pound, we have to convert that volume teaspoon into the equivalent. So let's do that here. The nice thing about this is it's already set to 2 teaspoons. I don't have to change anything. And we're just doing garlic powder. Luckily, there's only one option, so we don't have to really do a whole lot of anything else. And so 4.93 per pound, which measurement are we going to use?
Yeah.
A pound of 0.01, right? This is equivalent to 0.01 pound. And we choose that because our AP, that way it matches our AP unit. So now we go up here, reduce the AP cost to 1 unit. Guess what?
It's already one.
It's already in 1 unit, so we're good to go. Let's just combine that. $4.93 per pound. And this 2 teaspoons is equal to 0.01 pound. So now we have the cost of 1 unit multiplied by the weight of that unit itself. And we get 5 whole cents, 5 whole pennies.
That's a nickel.
It's a nickel. Yes, that's true. Probably easier way to say that.
Yeah.
5 whole cents. Okay. Any questions on how we set this portion up? Remember, sorry, let me first let me ask. Let me let you answer. Does anybody have any questions? Does anybody just see anything over again? Okay. So we've multiplied. Okay, we've converted. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add these together to get our subtotal. If you want to, this is optional, but you'll notice we have a lot of blank lines right here, right? So if you wanted to, you could go up here
Do long.
and you could delete them. You could also just leave the blank lines there because it's already in one page, right? So that way the next one will start on the next page, okay? Because each one of your recipes should start on a brand new page, okay? So you could choose this if you want to. We're going to add these together to get our subtotal, which is what?
$42.53.
Do we all agree? $42.53. Check your math. 53, we agree. Okay, excellent. So this is my subtotal of $42.53. This is my subtotal. Okay. We have a Q factor. For the purposes of this project, it is always going to be 5% of the subtotal. Okay. Always 5% the subtotal. So we're going to take the subtotal and we're going to multiply by 0.05. Remember, that's 5% as a decimal. So in this case, we'll take $42.53 and we'll multiply by 0.05. Okay. $42.53 times 0.05 is $2.13, right? 2.126 is going to become $2.13. And now our total, we're just going to add those two together. That gives us our total recipe cost. So what is that? 6, 7, so no, 66.
44.66.
44.66, thank you. All right, then how many portions do we get? We got 32, so it's the total cost divided by the portions. So we do 44.66 divided by 32 servings. And when we do that in our calculator, $1.40. $1.40. Okay, do we all see how we got to the $1.40? Any questions about that bottom section, the subtotal, Q factor, total recipe, and portion cost?
So just the Q factor is always 5%.
The purposes of this project, yes, your Q factor is 5%. If you have this in another class, you might ask the professor what the Q factor is. Okay. This Q factor, we talked about a Q factor in chapter 4, right? Where it was like all the sides that came with the brisket that were complimentary. They were free, but it was built into the cost, right? This this Q factor in relations to costing out recipes, okay? What if when you're measuring something, like let's say a teaspoon, how many of you take that teaspoon, get the ingredient, and then take a knife or a flat edge and level off that tablespoon or teaspoon? Anybody? Well, you guys pretty much do that, right? Some of your prep cooks, they may not do that because they're in a hurry, right? They may just scoop that and then shake it a little bit. It's not exact, so there's gonna be a little bit right there that's a little bit extra.
Uh,
That's what this $2.13 covers. If we use any extra ingredients in that process. Excuse me.
so it's like it's trying to predict the unpredictable.
Well, it's kind of giving you a little bit of a safety net,
Okay.
right? Because if you make the recipe exactly as is, well, now you got a little bit $2.13 extra. But if some people are using a little bit more ingredients, all right, we're not quite done yet. We're almost done. This project is, well, this specific project is about 6 years old. But a lot of times when I've done this project as far as costing out menus, but students would get to a point where they turn their work in. I know a lot of it was wrong, and there was no checkpoints along the way. So, how many of y'all have taken classes here at St. Philip's before this semester? Okay. You know, at the end of every class you take, there is a survey for you to complete, correct? Please complete those surveys. These quizzes that are part of this project are a direct result of students who completed the survey. They complained that there wasn't checkpoints along the way. And then I thought, you know what? How can I do that? Let me create these quizzes. And so these quizzes are a direct result of students voicing their professional criticism. You can't just tell your teacher your class sucks. You have to tell them why it sucks. And then you also have to give them a recommendation of what they can do to make it better. Okay. Use your managerial coaching. So let's go to the rub recipe. Here it is. Okay. So this rub recipe, once you've done all the work, we're going to go in and we're going to fill out our quiz. Okay. Our chili powder was how much? 119. Okay. I'm just going to put, I know it's wrong. I'm going to show you why in just a second, why I'm doing it intentionally. How about the salt?
1 cent.
It was 1 cent. Okay. Garlic powder.
5 cents.
Chicken breast.
41 and 28.28.
Okay. So then my recipe subtotal was 40.
253.50.
That's 50 cents
What's that?
up there.
I know, I did it wrong. I did it intentionally just for the example. Our Q factor was,
$2.13.
and our recipe cost was 44.66.
66.
I'm gonna put 65 just for right now. And my portion cost was
$1.40.
40 cents. Okay, cool. So I intentionally answered some questions wrong, just for the example of this, okay? So you submit the quiz. You got 6 out of 8 correct. So you're gonna go through, the first time you do it, do the whole recipe. It's gonna give you some, and if you get all of them wrong, you get all of them wrong. That's okay, right? You'll get a chance to go back and redo it. Every quiz has 99 attempts. Okay. So once you do the recipe, hopefully you'll get at least 1 or 2, maybe 3 ingredients correct, right? So we come down here. Okay, these are all correct. I can just leave those alone. Now let me focus on my ones that I got incorrect. I go back to my work. Oh, I was in a hurry and I put my decimal place in the wrong spot. Okay. So I'm just going to double check that.
That instead of 66, that 65 was kind of
I
the
know.
right.
I'll tell you about that in just a second. So it was $1.19, right? I'm going to just answer one question. And Canvas is going to say, hold on, wait a minute. You still have some unanswered questions. I'm going to say, that's okay. I got it. And the reason why I want you to only answer one question when you're retaking and you're focusing on one ingredient at a time, don't worry about filling out the ones you already have correct, right? Just focus on that one ingredient. Because then if we come down here and my grade is 1 and I only answered one question, then I know I got it right. If it's still a 0, then it's still wrong. Okay. So now I know chili powder is right. I'm going to make that note on my page. Okay. Make my note on my page. And then I'm going to go down here and I'm going to double check. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I made a mistake because I put 50 cents instead of 5 cents on the. So let me double check my math one more time. Garlic powder, 5 cents. One out of 8. And so now that I've corrected those two, now I can go back and do my recipe, my quiz one more time with all the correct answers, and I'll get 100 on the quiz. Okay. Now, Daniel pointed out that our chicken, what's that, was the recipe subtotal was 66,
Yes.
right? 42.66?
44.66.
66. And I put 44.65. Okay. It's, oops, hold on.
Now it counts as wrong.
I think it was the total recipe was 44.66.
Oh, whoops.
Total recipe 44.66. I'm gonna put 65. Okay. It counts it correct. Okay. The reason why I count it correct is because on some ingredients, most of them really, there's a margin of error. Okay. So if I look at these questions here, the total recipe cost is 44.67. That's what I got. But I have a margin of error of 5 cents. So that means you could be plus or minus 5 cents. So it could be anywhere from 44.62 all the way up to 44.72. And it will count it correct. Okay. What I found also in doing this project is that a lot of students are still very hesitant about math, right? And if it's off by 1 penny and it counts it wrong, students tend to give up, right? So I've given you a margin of error, right? Because of that rounding that we're doing, that's still kind of a new concept to some students. So that I've given you a margin of error on some ingredients. But some other ingredients, like the salt, there's a margin of error of 0, which means you have to put in 1 penny. Okay. So that's why sometimes as you're going through this project, you may have an ingredient counted wrong, but your subtotal might, and all that information might be correct in the bottom. It just means that you're outside the margin of error for that one ingredient. But by the time you add everything up, you are within the margin of error for the final answer. Okay. Sometimes students will experience that. All right, so your syllabus. I am going to move your rub recipe to be due on Tuesday next week. Because remember, we do not have class on Tuesday next week. My Monday class, I got called in to do a training over at the district office. And so, since I'm going to miss my Monday class, I like to keep you guys together. We're not going to have class on Tuesday. Your rub recipe will be your attendance for Tuesday next week. Okay. Now, what I would recommend is try the rub recipe on your own again without your notes. Try it on your own, see how you do. And then if you get things wrong, don't worry about it. Go back to the video and rewatch and figure out what you did wrong and then correct it and then get the right answers. Okay. But try it. Remember, you have 99 attempts. So it's okay to fail. That's where we learn the lessons in our failure. That's where we learn what not to do in the future. Okay. Other than this, once I move the rub to next week on the 23rd, okay, which actually looks like no, I didn't do that. I will move the rub to the 23rd. Wait a minute. Today's Thursday.
Yes.
I'm in the wrong class. Hold on. This is 2301 section. There we go, Tuesdays. So I will move the project, I will move the rub recipe to the 23rd, Monday the 23rd. Or Tuesday, that should be Tuesday, 24th. I'll work it out. Sorry. I'm gonna move that rub recipe. After this rub recipe is moved, you'll notice the next one is not due until March 24th, until way after spring break. Okay. I'm introducing the project right now because it kind of aligns with what we've covered so far with the semester with chapters 1, 2, 3, 4. But also, if you want to get a head start on the project, you absolutely can. Okay. What I intentionally did is I did not want to have any project assignments while I still had stuff from the textbook, homework from the textbook. So that way, once we finish the textbook, remember, once we finish chapter 10, the immediate class after that, we are going to switch to a project workday for the rest of the semester until final exam reviews. Okay. And that what that project workday looks like is, let's say we come in and it is, let's say we got let's say we have the bread, the broccoli, and the velouté sauce. That's due right here on the 31st. So that means you'll be working on those recipes the 24th and the 26th of March. Okay. So if you log into class on the 24th and you already have those 3 recipes done, as soon as I take attendance, you can log off. Or you can stay on if you have and you want to keep working on the other ones you have questions about, you can do that too. Okay. But what I'm saying is if you already have the assignments that are due the next Tuesday completed, you don't have to stay in, you can log off. Okay, as soon as I do attendance. If you're here in person, same thing. Once I do attendance, you can log off, you can head out. Okay. If you do not have those done, though, you must be in class on Tuesday and Thursday and sitting in here working on those assignments. That way, if you run into any issues with ingredients, I'm available right now to answer those questions. Okay. So once we finish chapter 10 of the textbook, we'll go to that recipe, the project workday model until that second to last week of the semester where we'll do a final exam review and then we'll do the final exam the week after that. Okay. So pretty much all of April is most likely going to be project work days. Okay. And again, you can log in remotely. I'm going to trust that while you are logged in remotely, you are also working on that project. Okay, and I'm here available to answer any questions. Jasmine, so it will always be the week, the menu sets that are due the following week. So whatever week we are in, the ones that are due that Tuesday, the week after, those are the ones that I will be looking at. So if you do want to work ahead, what I recommend is you go to the syllabus link here in Canvas and see the order in which I have them listed. Okay. Questions, comments, concerns? Yes.
So those quizzes are like checkpoints of each recipe?
Yep. So when you get to the final calculations, the final menu cost for the whole menu, you're gonna know you have all those other answers correct already. Yeah. Okay. If you start working on the project, you can start asking me questions through email. Okay. The best thing to do is take a picture of your work. Right? Let's say you're not quite getting the correct answer. Take a picture of your work, make sure it's in that AP to recipe format so that I can see what step is going wrong. Okay. That's all I have for today. I'll see you all next week. We'll pick up again with chapter 5 next week. Okay?
I understand.
Back in the textbook. Yes.
Cookies.
Yes, those are yours to keep. Those are yours to keep. Yep.
Mhm.
Play the answer sheet for the.
Is that? Yes, but I would recommend that you try to do it by yourself. Try to recreate it on your own without your notes and then see where you get and then go back.
What?
Did you now?
Yeah,
Usually get.
Like that one?
And then you just convert.
exactly.
When I got in trouble,
You're saying.
I always got in trouble. One time I did something so bad, my dad was, he was like, what is it?
Correct.